Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riv. And I guess we have to lead the show with the world earth-shattering news of the assassination attempt. And there's not, what more can we say than I think we all have to send out our sincere prayers and condolences to the family of the individual who was trying to exercise his right to be part of the political process and go see a candidate that he wanted to support and was murdered. Uh,
That
and
was a
also,
firefighter who was murdered.
yeah, it was a fire. He was a firefighter. He went to church every Sunday. They gave this whole, but the reality is that listen, this was tragedy. The president was extremely lucky. If he hadn't turned his head to look at a graphic of an immigration thing that wasn't really going to be, he was going to hit it earlier than anticipated in his speech, he would have been dead too, because rather than being hit in the ear, he would have been hit in the head. So it's an extremely that's great. uh, Dismiss the case. But this just is a sad commentary on the state of the United States. We we've got these lunatics running around. How a 20-year-old got 150 yards away from the president at probably the most advantageous shooting position around is an epic failure of the not the people who protected the president. They put their bodies in a line of fire, but the preparation for that there's something wrong. There will be an investigation, but our prayers and our thoughts should be going out to former President Trump. This should not happen. This is another indication of how screwed up our society is, where we have these yo-yos that go to college and live on TikTok and get all their news from TikTok and all these other social media platforms, and they get brainwashed, and they're running around the streets yelling "Free Palestine," and they couldn't find it on a map, and they get radicalized, and they're calling for killing the Jews and everything else because they think this is a video game. And the problem is once they get locked in a building, they lock themselves in a building, they go 18 hours without water and they're crying for water. See, that's the problem. These people think that this is a video game. This is some kind of social platform thing. Well, that guy thought it was a video game till he got shot. So, and it was a tragedy. We had two other Americans exercising their right to be part of the political process. And they were seriously injured. Supposedly they're stabilized now, but this was a tragic day. We'll see how the investigation pans out, and we'll talk about it at some point in time. And I know, CJ, you want to say something about it, and then we'll get in.
One of the other gentlemen that was injured was a veteran. Okay, and I don't know too much about the third person, but they are stable, and I guess they're doing okay now. A question was brought up on how did a 20-year-old get up on top of a roof with an AR-15 and the state troopers and the Secret Service, and nobody stopped them. They keep saying that it was because it was outside of the coverage area. Wasn't so outside of the coverage area that they couldn't get a bead on him as soon as he started shooting, though, right? The counter snipers were able to get him right away.
Well, yeah, look, there's a problem here, and I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories. Some said it was intentional, but that dog don't hunt. When a president or a dignitary anywhere in the world comes in, they've had numerous experts on, and I was trained in this in the military too. The first thing they do when they do the site evaluation before the thing ever takes place They have to look at every place within shooting range, and a high-powered rifle. You've got snipers. This kid obviously wasn't trained, but the fact is that you have people that can hit, can shoot a gnat in the ass from 1,000 yards. And you have to look at this. The reason you have those snipers on a roof is not to just wait till somebody shoots. It's to scan all the rooftops. They are supposed to have all those rooftops, every window, everything within an area that would allow a shooter to kill someone. They should have those all marked. They know where they are, and there should have been constant surveillance on all those areas. How he got out 150 yards is a layup. Even somebody that doesn't shoot that well can hit something at 150 yards. It sounds like a long way, but if you know anything about weapons, 150 yards is a layup. And that there's no excuse for this. It was a catastrophic, either a catastrophic failure, or there are now conspiracy theories flying around about they did it intentionally and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm going to tell you from a standpoint of somebody who was trained in this stuff. That's bullshit. We learned when Kennedy was shot, you have to look at every window, everything within shooting range. They learned a long time ago. You cannot allow rooftops to be going unmonitored during the speech of a presidential candidate or any dignitary or anybody for that fact that you don't want shot, because that's where they're going to get them from. I mean, once in a great while, there's a massive crowd. We know when Reagan got shot, he was on the street. He got shot from the street level with a pistol. Robert Kennedy got shot with a pistol. But most of the time when they try these political assassinations, they're with long guns from distance. That's the most critical area you have to monitor. And for some 20-year-old imbecile to be able to walk around 150 yards away from that thing with a gun, and everybody yelling that the guy's got a gun and he's on the roof, and the guy took a video of him on a roof. That was probably the most advantageous shooting position you could take on that day. There's no excuse for what happened except a catastrophic failure of the Secret Service. The Secret Service men who protected the president did an incredible job. They put their bodies in front of them. But Donald Trump showed he is a fighter. He got up and he told to tell the people he was safe and told them to continue. He showed what he was made of then. Because when you get in situations like that, you show what you're made of. If that would have happened to our current president, he'd probably still be in a fetal position. But so with that, CJ, I'm done talking about that till we get further information.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of comments. Stevie B made a comment about Rep. Bernie Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi, wanting to take away Trump's Secret Service details. There's a lot of, Jeffrey had said that people on his Facebook feed are saying that it's all fake, that the blood was ketchup on his face. What did he do? Eat it at McDonald's before this? I mean, I don't know.
And the Secret Service was in on a conspiracy, right?
That's right.
And when did he put the ketchup on his? When did he put the ketchup on his ear? I mean, look, These people. Listen, the guy from Mississippi is a clown. He did that for political traction. They're the people who caused this assassination attempt. Because remember, for the last 6 years, they've been calling him Hitler, war criminal. He should be killed. They had the comedian with a Donald Trump head that she chopped off. They wanted him killed. They said it was okay to kill a political opponent. They were the ones.
As a matter of fact, Joe Biden turned around and said, it's time to put a bullseye on him. Remember?
That's right. Yeah. And
they all said, well, that's not what he meant. It may not be what he meant, but guess what? That's what they did.
Yeah, you're right. And that kid, 20-year-old kid who had the IQ of a turnip and are easily radicalized, and you don't need the IQ of a turnip. Look at all these morons that are in college. The top colleges like Columbia, walking up and down the street yelling, gas the Jews, kill the Jews. They think this is a game.
Right.
Well, guess what? We found out, we got a reminder again that this is not a game. You don't say kill somebody unless you're prepared to be killed by someone. And they're not. Because we saw the little babies. We got no water. We're gonna go down. We're gonna dehydrate. Send us vegan peace. Oh, but we want everybody dead, and we're gonna take over the building. But now we don't have any water. Give us water. They don't. Your enemy doesn't give you water in a war. Your enemy doesn't give you food. What he gives you is a lead sandwich. That's what you get, assholes. Because you're really pissing me off, you yo-yos. You think this is a big game. Well, we saw, CJ and I watched when Reagan got shot. We were around when these things happened. When Kennedy was killed. When Reagan was shot. When Robert Kennedy was shot. We saw this. This isn't a freaking game. You moronic bastards. Talking shit that you can't, writing checks with your mouth that your ass can't cash. But then when you get in a critical situation, you cry for mommy and water and vegan pizzas. That's why I've always said this country should reinstitute the draft, and it should be DEI. All the men and women, just like in Israel. 2 years in the military. When you're 18 years old, I think they do it in Portugal too. 2 years in the military. Get these little babies away from mommy's basement. Stick their ass in the military. Let them put on a uniform and let them get the threat of being activated somewhere and go into a combat zone. And it'll change the whole complexion of this country. These freaking losers are living in a dream world.
Hey, I had a friend who went to Angola with the Portuguese army. Okay, so Portugal has it, China has it, Korea has it, mandatory service for 2 years. Yep. Maybe it's time that we do it here in the United States.
Oh, I've been an advocate of that for years, CJ.
That these people have no idea what's going on. Now, in regards to Crooks, the alleged shooter, he got his gun because somebody asked where to get his AR-15. His father bought it for him legally. Okay, but they cleared the family. They had nothing to do with this. In Crooks's car, he had containers, incendiary devices. They thought that he was going to use those as a distraction. Okay, I don't know. It could have been a bomb. Maybe after he took a shot, he was going to shimmy down the pole and get in his car and drive into the crowd. I don't know. Maybe he had a death wish. Nobody knows. He doesn't have social media anywhere. There's no social media anywhere. Yeah. He hasn't left a note.
It's extremely surprising that they let the parents off because, realistically, the father has an obligation to secure that weapon at all times. And that weapon obviously was not secured. And I'm sure he knew his son had issues. I mean, it's pretty hard to have somebody like that in the family. They said he was a loner in school. He had been bullied. Obviously, the kid had some issues. But the fact is that he has an obligation to secure that weapon. It's like saying, well, my kid got my 9mm and shot himself in the head, but I'm not liable. No, you are liable. When people have access to your home, your guns are supposed to be secured. They're supposed to be secured even if nobody has access. But I've always questioned that ridiculous thing. That's where the overreach of the wokies. It's like, secure your guns. If nobody can get in your house, if nobody's in your house, if you live in your house by yourself or with adults, and you secure your guns. But when you leave the house, you don't have to. Why should you secure your guns? If they break into your house and they see a gun case, they're stealing it anyway. They're going to take the case and everything. But that's another issue. But this thing is it's horrifying. I've watched too many of these. I saw Robert Kennedy killed. We've seen them all. CJ and I've seen a lot of these. I almost caught Abraham Lincoln, but I was just a kid. I'm only a kid. But yeah, this is outrageous. A catastrophic failure. But then again, we're going to segue into what's happening at the city council and the catastrophic failure of the city. But I got one rhetorical question to ask. Is anybody surprised that the Biden administration and an appointee of Biden who heads the Secret Service or any department that he has put somebody in charge of is a dismal failure? Not really surprising. They're all messed up. Mayorkas, you name them all. His cabinet is like Bozo the Clown Show. There's not one person on his cabinet that's functional, basically. They're all a bunch of yo-yos. And to say that, she's not even available for comment. She's hiding. They're figuring out how to spin this. And you can't spin it. You can't spin it. You're going to normally kill a president or a potential president and a former president. Chances are you're not going to pull a Robert Kennedy or a Reagan. They learned from those things. They had metal detectors. They had agents all over that place, and they've got people visibly scanning those people. They're not listening to the speech. They're looking at people. They're looking at people's movements. They're looking at their behaviors. They're looking at everything on the ground in that close proximity to the president. Not that it can't happen, because anybody that's willing to die could probably, get something off. But chances are minimal. Normally, if they're going to shoot somebody today, they're going to shoot them from range. That's why every window, every possible place that you could set up to get a shot off, every rooftop, every window in every building has to be monitored. Actually, I had a guy from New York City that talked about what a nightmare New York is whenever they have those things, because they had millions of windows, but they had hundreds and hundreds of officers there scanning those places. They had the best targets. They also cordoned off those buildings. So look, the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing was a mess. It's a tragedy. We had the president wounded. We had two other people critically injured, and a firefighter, a father, a husband, a man who went to church every Sunday, even if he didn't, killed for doing what? For exercising his right as an American. That has no place in this country. And all the Democrats now who were saying, put a target on his back, take his security detail away. Now they're all saying, our prayers are out. Our prayers are for you. Your prayers, you called him Hitler. You called him war criminal. I mean, You got comedians walking around with Trump's head, pretending they chopped his head off and everything else. And then you wonder why this crap happens. You haven't figured out these boneheads in this generation. They're about as malleable as nutty putty. And that's what they are. They're nutty putty. You can talk them into anything. You can look at they radicalized all these damn Ivy League college idiots. They're supposed to be smart. Oh, it's okay for Hamas to chop off babies' heads, burn them, kill people, kidnap people. They're right. Kill the Jews, gas the Jews. I mean, this is horrifying to watch this country. We've descended into chaos, and that's what we have right now, chaos. With that, CJ, I'm done for that today.
I remember who it was that you were at. Okay? You were there when James Garfield got shot.
Yeah.
I wasn't too far behind you. I was there when McKinley was. So
Yeah. Garfield. Yeah. Oh, Roosevelt. Remember Teddy?
That's right. Roosevelt.
The Rough Rider. The Rough Rider not only got shot.
Right. Shot and wounded by John Schrank.
Got shot
while campaigning in Milwaukee.
That's right. He was in Milwaukee. He got shot in the chest, right near his heart, but he had a metal case for his eyeglasses and his speech in that pocket, and it stopped the bullet so it didn't penetrate. And Teddy Roosevelt finished his speech bleeding. Then he went to the hospital. There's the man, my favorite president, Abraham II. Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider, a soldier, a man who got the Congressional Medal of Honor with the Rough Riders, charging up San Juan Hill in the Spanish-American War, had a boxing ring put into the White House, got the judo champion of Japan to come to America and live in a White House for a year to train him in judo. A real man's man, just like Joe. Teddy didn't walk like this. Teddy was the man. Shot, wounded.
I figured out why he walks like that. He's got to stick up his ass.
Wounded. He got up and he finished his speech. That's why I love Teddy Roosevelt. He's the guy that said that it's totally just to criticize the president. He said,
"That's right.
I'm the president, and if I do something wrong, kick the shit out of me.
There you go.
But if I do something right, recognize it."
That's right.
That was Teddy.
Right.
He was also the guy that said, when the government screwed up, it's your fault. The reason Rome went down is the people stopped voting. Teddy was. He also started the National Park Service. He was one of our most brilliant presidents. And remember what party he was in for a while? The Bull Moose Party, CJ. The Bull Moose Party.
That's right. That's right.
How many people ever heard of the Bull Moose Party? But with that, okay, you wrap it up, and then we can get to the council meeting.
Yeah. There's just too much going on, and again, you have to give Donald Trump credit. As you said, he got up, even with the Secret Service people around him, because they're all trying to make themselves as big as possible, which is what they're supposed to do. He got his head out there, and he got his fist out there, and he was saying, keep fighting. And he's right, keep fighting. Yeah. As much as
the liberals and a couple of the liberals said that was terrible. He shouldn't have done that.
Right.
No, of course not. He shouldn't have he should not have shown strength.
Right.
In a time of crisis. That is definitely not a trait you want to see in a leader, wokies. What you want to see is, you use the wrong pronoun. They have to throw you in jail because you hurt my feelings. Oh, my God. That's it. You hurt my feelings. That's what you want as a president. A weak-kneed bag of oatmeal, rotting bag of oatmeal that can't answer a question. That's what you want. Let's hope that's not what America wants at the election. So
No,
that was
America
the problem.
doesn't want that.
They
America
even
wants,
made that iconic pose, because that pose is going to go down in history. That
do
picture.
you know that the Trump campaign already made T-shirts and posters with that picture?
Yeah.
And they're selling them like wildfire. People can't get them fast enough. So, again, if this was a ruse to
Bruce.
discredit or make Trump look weak, it backfired. And I fully believe, as do many political pundits, that this assassination attempt gave him a bump. I got to see the new polls, but I think it gave him a bump. And with that, I'm going to close on that topic, and we're going to get to something people are asking about. We want to know about the council meeting. Yes, we do. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., Government Center, One Government Center, Fall River. Come out. Be heard. Because if you're not heard, they're going to put a question on the ballot that says you want a Prop 2.5 override, that you freely want to pay more taxes, that you freely don't mind the government reaching into your pocket and taking more money. You. This has nothing to do with the school anymore. This has nothing to do with Diamond. You can't say this is for the kids. This is about the mayor screwing up. This is about the city council screwing up. The city council already told the mayor once, no, we are not going to do a debt exclusion. But the mayor, being the idiot he is, being the pompous ass that he is, and he that thinks everything is his way or no way, felt, I'm going to put it before the city council again because I got to get that money. I need that money. And if I don't get that money, I'm laying off police and fire. They don't need police and fire. Why should they? So if I don't get that money, I'm going to make sure they don't get their police and fire. So take the threats for what they're worth, because that's all this man ever does is threaten. But you need to be heard, because the city council tomorrow will make the decision on whether or not to put the question on the ballot. If the city council says no, I believe it's going to be no. And they won't be able to put it on the ballot. They need a response by August 7th, I believe it was said, by Ryan Lyons, another political hack. And if they don't have that approved by the city council tomorrow, they won't meet the deadline. Guarantee you they find a way to extend the deadline so they can put it before the city council a third time. Because this dictator, this pompous ass, can't accept no for a response. And that's the problem. I don't want to pay any more in taxes. I don't even know what I'm paying now because you won't put it on my tax bill. You lied to me then. What makes you think for a moment I'm going to believe you're telling the truth now? You wouldn't know the truth if it came up and bit you in the ass. That's the problem.
Yeah, you said it. You said it, CJ. And you know something? Your weekend flush, you proved it. You talked about these morons couldn't figure out the interest rate. The debt's going to go up for Diamond. He lied to you again. He knew it. You're telling me the great financial team can't figure out that the interest rate? Now you're going to pay not 6.5, 7 something. Who gives a shit? He's going to be out of Fall River. Because once he's not mayor anymore, he's gone again. He's going to have flames coming out of his ass. He wants you to give him more money, even though he put over 100 people with opera money. 60 something on one side, 40 something on the other. 100 people, never worried about paying their salaries. Now the opera money's out. Now the taxpayers got to pay. He gave his chief of staff, I'm going to say this again on Tuesday night, to the council. He gave his staff a pay raise that the City council didn't approve. They did not approve the ordinance for those pay raises, and he still gave it to them. So the council's liable for this. They allowed him to pay them. Just like they're allowing him to pay people whose jobs aren't in ordinance. Just like they allowed him to pay people above what the ordinance said. Just like they allowed him to continue picking up private trash and having us pay for it for 4 years. And the people's trash that being picked up is triple what it was when Jazel was in. Well, how did all those people get on there to have us pay their bills? Listen, they got to stop, and they've got to control their spending. They've got to cut this budget, and the city council's got to grow a set. They got to say no, and they got to start they got to start saying, you're not cutting fire and police. You're going to cut all the opera jobs you made. You're going to cut all the consultants. You're going to cut all the assistants to the assistants to the assistants. If your superintendent of schools can't run the schools with just one assistant, when CJ went to school, and I went to school, at least I think so, CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, we had a superintendent of schools and an assistant superintendent of schools, one, correct? CJ?
Yeah.
We had one, correct, when you were there?
That's all I had.
That's all I had. And we had a bigger school system then.
That's right. And when I was in elementary school, I had one principal. I didn't even have a vice principal. I only had one principal.
Yeah, we had a vice principal at Durfee.
Oh, at Durfee was a different story.
Yeah,
but when I was
in the regular schools, we had one principal, no vice principal.
That's right. We only had was one principal.
One principal in the regular school. Durfee had a vice principal. You had a Massa Williston when I was there. I remember that. But all they do is spend money. And the council's got to say, no, you're not laying off fire and police. We're not going to fund these jobs. Aya Capone's a consultant. We got a financial analyst to help bridge it out. We got 6 assistant superintendents of schools. They were talking about putting a deputy superintendent in. Jesus. I mean, how many people does it take? If a superintendent of schools can't run the school system, they should be fired. Pay them. They're paying her 186. Fire them all. The 6 are super. You realize how much benefits cost? Do you realize how much benefits cost? $700. It costs the city. Well, depending on family, or I'll round it out. Let's say $600 a month is what, depending. There's 3 different healthcare plans, but I'll give you an example how these people can't do simple math. We've got Network Blue. We've got 3 or 4 different plans. We've got a high plan, but they average for the employees payments from like 500 and something for families for the highest plan. It gets down into the 3 or high 3s, low 4s. So round it off at about 600. So let me do quickly here on my calculator, because I'm pretty good at math, but I don't want to make a mistake here. Let's see, $600 times 3, which they got to pay 75% more. Okay, so it costs them $1,800 a month for the health care of every employee. This is ballpark. Remember, he's going to say that's not exact. No, it's not exactly right. But I can get you the exact numbers. If you want to pay me to do the work, I know exactly how many people are in every plan. But that'll take me, a day's worth of work, and you're going to have to pay me. I do this stuff for nothing for the regular people. You're going to pay me, Paul. You want these numbers? Bridget wants these numbers. You write me a check, and I'll get it. So that's $1,800 a month. Times 12 months, $21,000, $21,600 a year, times 6 assistant superintendents of schools. It's $129,600. Now multiply that by the hundreds and hundreds of jobs that he's created. That's for 6 people. And the healthcare premiums don't change whether you're a opera appointee or not. We're picking up the healthcare for all of these people. And the city's got to pay 75% of their healthcare. We're talking millions and millions of dollars for jobs that duplicate things. He created no, it's not. It depends on a plan, David. It's expensive. The plan, it's single plans are cheaper, obviously. Family plans are more expensive. But we actually, ironically enough, have one of the lowest costs. Healthcare is expensive as hell. And we've got a good healthcare system, knock on wood, because, I always we keep it. But we've got a good plan, and we're actually one of the cheapest in the state. Healthcare costs a boatload, because remember, the pharmaceuticals are included in there. But
that's because Chip Kamara fights. If you didn't fight, they'd be paying more, and you know it.
Oh, yeah. Well, GIC, for example, right now, for Tier 3 drugs, the actives pay $50 for a Tier 3 drug. That's a high-priced drug. On the GIC, that Tier 3 drug is $165, so do the math. They'd be paying $115 more for every prescription, and that goes to Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. They'd be paying more, and they were going to try to put them in a GIC. But it's the benefits these people get, not only their salaries, which are astronomical, but it's the benefits. We're paying 6 assistant superintendents of schools. Fire the superintendent, fire the 6 assistants, say, okay, the new superintendent's going to make $275,000 a year. You'll have a whole boatload of applicants. They'll go, Fall River school system, it's not that big. You're going to have people. Well, even one of them who applied for that job was a superintendent of schools. We get one of the least qualified, like they always do.
As usual.
As usual. I remember back in the old days when they were hiring a superintendent, there was one superintendent applicant who didn't have a PhD. Guess who they hired? The one without the PhD. Everybody else had a doctorate and a lot more credentials. But that's the way it goes. But listen, the moral of this story is these nitwits have not controlled spending at all at the council. And I'm going to tell them that on Tuesday. And the man never stopped spending. So it's time for the council to step up, say no to this debt override, and tell the mayor, get your shit together, stop spending. Nothing's getting approved anymore unless it's absolutely essential and necessary. And we're going to start eliminating these positions, these duplications. We're going to get rid of all these consultants. If you can't do your job without 6 assistants, you shouldn't be in that position. When you're a department head and you need 27 people to help this thing, you shouldn't be there. It's like saying a fire chief needs 150 assistants. No, he's got deputy chiefs for administration. He's got district chiefs to run the fires. They got lieutenants and captains to run the companies. That's why the school department's got principals, vice principals. They got all kinds of people, all these tiers. But we need all this at the top. What do they do? What are they doing during the day? You're telling me that they're up to they're up to their eyeballs in work, and that's BS. Listen, we have the most top-heavy city. I've been doing this since 1981. I've gone through a lot of mayors, from Carlton Viveras to what we got now. There's a lot of mayors in between that site. I have never seen a mayor so totally oblivious to the impact of spending all this money. He doesn't care. They just spend it. They don't have it. And they say, why? Why should we worry? We just get another override. We just raise the taxes and we just keep taking their money away from them. And we don't care if none of these people are performing. The educational system's underperforming. We got crime. We got everything. But they want more of your money. Get there on Tuesday, and if they do put that on a ballot, you got to start organizing to shoot that down at the ballot box. But hopefully, and believe me, I'm not an optimist I'm a pragmatist. I think those bobbleheads that have been promised jobs and are so far up Coogan's ass, if he farts, their head will explode. I think that this is in danger of going through. And let's see what happens tomorrow. But you hit it on the head, CJ, with the interest. There's the latest thing. Nothing could have come at a more appropriate time. These idiots can't even tell you the right number. And then they're going to tell you, trust me, it's only 11 cents or some shit. They always break it down to like it's only like 11 cents a day or 11 cents a second.
Yeah, but I started looking at some of those amortization schedules. I mean, I'm not a finance guy, but I can put numbers together. So can you. And I couldn't understand how 11 cents equaled $18. I just couldn't figure that out. Or how 42 cents equals $116. It just made no sense. Is that a day?
Nothing they do makes sense.
That a week? CJ? I mean, how are they figuring this out? Again, we're going to give you the formula and you figure it out.
Yeah. Well, listen, you know as well as I do, CJ. We've been doing this for how long on the show? How many times on this show have you said, they said it was only going to be X amount of dollars on my water bill, and nobody in the talk to actually got that. Nobody. Everybody paid more.
That's right.
So, listen, the bottom line is they've already told you that. Pay attention, people. How many times in that council have they said, these numbers are only for discussion? That means they're not right.
That's right.
That means they're not right. They're only for discussion. They're fake. It's fake. It's a cheap fake. Jesus, come on. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's like, how many times they said, oh, your water bill's only going to go up X amount of dollars. It always went up more. Oh, your taxes are only going to be this much. No, they went up more. It's like these people can't get a number. And I'm going to tell them Tuesday, if I get asked a question, did you ever see Bob Connors say these numbers are strictly for discussion? No. Did you ever see Jim Smith, who was another city administrator, say these numbers are only for discussion? And God forbid that would never come out of the mouth of Alan Silver. Because when Alan went before the council, he could talk for 7 hours on the numbers, break it down to the exact penny, not for discussion. No discussion. Absolute. This is it to the penny. To the penny. Why are we in the trouble we're in now? We got a nitwit for the mayor. We got nitwits on a city council and on a school committee. And we got nitwits working in this city. And remember one important factor. The two biggest people in the food chain on this issue, the CFO and the city administrator, do not live in Fall River. They're not going to pay 1 penny.
But they're going to take plenty.
Huh?
But they're going to take plenty.
That's right. They're going to take their money. They're not going to pay 1 penny. Their water bill is not going to get increased. Their tax rate is not going up. They're not getting a debt override. They're not going to pay 1 single cent to help fund this budget because they don't live here. And I thought we had a residency requirement, didn't we? CJ?
Yeah, I'm here.
Didn't the charter say we got residency requirements?
What was that?
The charter. Didn't they say we have like a residency requirement somewhere in here?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, there's something about that. But I mean, listen, we hire these people from out of town. They rape us with the taxes, and then they go home and they go, look at those idiots just got their water bill tripled, 23% increase. My water bill's going down. Let's look across. Go to Tiverton. Go to Tiverton, step across the Tiverton line and say, my excise tax on my car's going up. Oh, wait a minute. Rhode Island eliminated the excise tax 2 years ago. Nobody in Rhode Island pays excise tax on their cars. even in that crap hole. But in Massachusetts, look what they're doing to you. He has the audacity to ask you for more money. Yeah, it's like, okay, hey, give me more money. Maybe I can pay all my friends and buy a Cadillac. But I mean, I don't know. This may be a turning point. This may be another purple bag moment, in my opinion. This may be a purple bag moment. I think the people have had it. Remember 1995? I'm going to remind them about 1995. And we're going to have somebody there that got bounced out of the council in 1995, and she's going to be sitting in the seat right there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remind them of how long ago was the recall? Wasn't that long ago? What was it, 2016?
Yeah.
2016, on the 16th of December. Who could forget that? Who knows? There may even be a reminder of the purple bag moment Tuesday night. Just be there. Be watching. There may be something to remind everybody that this could be another 1995 or a purple bag moment. And in case you weren't around in 95, weren't following politics, they threw 5 councilors out because you know what the council was doing at the time? Ignoring what the people wanted and doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. Remember that, CJ? You remember it.
I remember it clearly.
All right, we're going to give our viewers a test. Who can name the 5 councilors that got bounced? I bet you nobody. Nobody will even take a shot. Don't do that. Don't give them the answers. But that's what happened. And it's up to us to hold them accountable. Listen, the Rough Rider who gave a speech while he was wounded, they showed a picture of Teddy Roosevelt with the blood on his coat. He finished that speech. Our president putting his hand up, our former president, and hopefully future president. And so now you know who I'm endorsing for president. The cat's out of the bag, in case you couldn't figure it out yet. That I called Biden a rotting bag of oatmeal that's destroyed the world. If you think I was going to vote for somebody that I thought did that, well, I'm worse than some of these people in the colleges. But we have to do what Teddy Roosevelt did. Get up, and we got Donald Trump in that iconic pose. And what was he saying? Fight. We have to fight them. If we don't fight them, they win. And together, there are more of us than there are of them. United, we will stand. Divided, we will fall.
Interesting. And by the way, it was 2014, and this is our 10-year anniversary this year on December 16th. So.
It'd be the 16th, so it'd be like on my birthday, too. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll have a 10-year anniversary celebration and your 250th birthday, right?
That's right. My 250th birthday. I'm trying to catch Methuselah.
There you go.
Yeah, like I said, now you ratted me out. I did see the Lincoln assassination. Okay. All right, I was at the Ford Theater.
Too funny. Well, people, remember, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., City Council chamber, sign in before the Committee on Finance meets. Sign in. Put your name in the book that you want to speak. And make sure you tell this City Council no on more new taxes. No on a Prop 2.5 override. No on a debt exclusion. And no more wasteful spending. Because remember, this mayor spends it whether the City Council approves it or not. I follow the law unless it doesn't work for me, and then I don't care. That's the way it should read. Okay? And I'll tell you right now, for those of you who didn't know, and this isn't a racist comment, everybody who wasn't Portuguese got bounced. Stayed on if they weren't Portuguese. If you're Portuguese, you got bounced off the council. They called them the Portuguese Mafia. Remember that, Chip? Remember?
I remember it vividly. And they bounced. The thing that was really surprising during that one was that one of the councilors that had been there over 20 years and was really, really, that surprised me. The other ones didn't surprise me that much, but when they bounced John Medeiros,
that was surprising.
that was surprising. I didn't think that they would get to him. The rest of them, Linda, and we knew they were going. But John Medeiros really surprised me because he had been there but the irony was he kind of like brought it on himself because that was the first time that they used to call the no the net because he voted no on everything. John Medeiros, a lot of people don't realize he was a Republican and he was a conservative. So he voted basically no on every spending.
Everything.
Ever came in front of the council. But he always voted with that Portuguese voting bloc. The president of the council at that time was Steve Camara, no relation to me, and he ran that thing like a dictatorship, kind of like Coogan runs the city now.
Yeah.
And those 5 people ran everything on their agenda through, and the people just got pissed off, and they rose up and they bounced them.
And it's time for them to get pissed off again. It's
so
time
let's
for the
do
people
it
to get
again.
pissed off. Let's do it again. I want to thank y'all for watching, and remember, stay angry and hold your politicians accountable. And think about this. If you're not there tomorrow, you got nobody to blame but yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday.